everybody, I'm going to try something a little new with my YouTube channel and my Etsy store. I'm going to be putting up a knife of the week for a little while, and that's to keep things a little more consistent instead of having no knives, no new knives for several weeks and then all of a sudden 4 or 5. So we're going to start off with a Swiss buck, and I don't know if you're familiar with Swiss buck. I really wasn't. This is the first one I've ever handled. I mean, I'd seen them out there, but I didn't know a lot about them, so I had a chance to acquire this nearly new one and started looking into their history and found it pretty interesting. What Swiss buck was, basically, was just a marketing partnership or collaboration between Wenger of Switzerland and Buck Knives of the USA. And so I think Wenger, in order to sell more knives in North America, they went to Buck and said, hey, help us market and distribute these. So it's a Wenger knife designed by Wenger and produced in Switzerland, but it's got a Buck logo on it and some other unique styling features. And they did this in the 90s, and they started it in 1991, and then it was discontinued in 1998. So these are probably, this is one of the newer knives I've featured, but it's vintage enough to put on my Etsy store, and I will offer it for sale, and you'll be able to find that information at the end of the video. They made, I think, 14 different models, 4 different sizes, so they had all these different names and tool configurations, but the one I have here is a Taskmate 2. And the first thing you'll notice about it are these distinctive black plastic scales with these rather pronounced grooves at the front. I like them. They make actually a nice grip point on the knife. The other thing you'll notice is the Buck logo. Now there's a little recessed place here in the scales, and I believe that's just a foil sticker down in there. So I can see how that might wear off or peel away in a heavily loved one, but this one is practically new and they're in great shape. You'll also notice on the exterior of the knife it's got the little Wenger style keychain. This is an 84 millimeter model or size. That's about 3 1/4 inches, and it's a 4-layer knife, so it's about 3/4 of an inch thick, and I think it weighs 3.6 ounces. It's got a rather full array of tools. I rather like the tool combination. The front layer here, you've got the Wenger style lobster claw can opener that they used for so long. And you have their can opener, screwdriver cap lifter wire bender, and it's their patented version of it. I don't know if you can see this, but when you push on it, it goes in a little bit, so it locks. And so if you're bearing down on a screw, it won't collapse on you. It actually locks in place. I like that feature. Now the Taskmates had pliers, and I like this set of pliers. They're small because it's a 3 1/4 inch knife, remember, but it's got this nice spring bar instead of a little leaf spring, and that's not going to break. And it also has a slip joint there, so it will open up and maybe grab just a little bit of a bigger nut. So those are Wenger pliers. It also has a set of scissors. Again, Wenger scissors, the spring bar, if you can see, very small serrated edges. It's supposed to be self-sharpening. I think the difference between the Taskmate 1 and the Taskmate 2 is that the Taskmate 1 did not have the scissors, just the pliers. And then the blades, well, let's look at the big one first. This is something a little different. Wenger's usually had spear point blades. So here you see a clip point blade. Why did they do that? Well, that looks a lot like a Buck blade. So that's a little styling cue to kind of tie this into Buck. And I just want you to notice the condition of that blade. It's perfect. There aren't any scratches or scuffs or sharpening marks. It's got a factory edge. And I don't know if you can see this in the video, but the tang stamp does read Wenger Delamont Switzerland Stainless. And then the small blade is also the clip point variety. The back tools are a Phillips screwdriver, and a punch or an awl. I hesitate to call that a reamer because it doesn't have a sharpened edge to it. It's very pointy, but it doesn't have that sharpened edge like a Victorinox reamer does. And then back over here on the keychain end, we do have a small toothpick and a set of little tweezers. They're a little bit on the smallish side, but they've nestled down in there really nicely, if I can get them back in there. They have like a little lip on them so you can get your nail in there and grab them. So that's a Swiss buck, discontinued model from the 90s. It's really just a Wenger knife, marketed by Buck. I really like it. It's a sturdy feeling knife, and it's got a great set of tools on it, real nice array of tools. And so this one's in really nice condition. If you'd like to take a look at that, please go to my Etsy shop and buy it. I appreciate you watching, and have fun collecting.